Are you guys doing something with your voice?
Welcome to the Reliables, a live stream series here on the Zombie Orpheus Entertainment channel on Twitch, brought to you in partnership with Pinnacle Entertainment Group, the makers of the Savage Worlds game system.
Woo!
I'm your host and GM, James Durham. The Reliables is an interactive tabletop RPG show where you, our audience, have a direct impact on the story and the events of the show. Let's take a look right now at the store and see all kinds of cool items we have that you guys can purchase to affect things as they go. For the $5 level, we have the shout out. Maybe you've got a birthday message. Maybe you want to tell a bad pun. Maybe you need to give somebody in the cast some advice. I mean, any of those things can be done with the shout out. For $15, you can jam up the works and you can give me a Benny to use against these guys because I need all the help I can get keeping them in trouble and near death and suffering and enduring all kinds of other horrible things that I can come up with. So
unless we roll dice and then we die anyway.
Yes, unless they get to roll dice.
We do not need, you do not need any help with that. We are more than capable of endangering ourselves.
I promise you, buddy, we can screw this up.
We've got friends with benefits, which, you want to do the reverse of that. You want to buy them some bennies so they can maybe re-roll some of those die rolls, draw a different initiative card, or just affect the story and change things as they go through it. We've got at the $20 level, draw two. So any one of our players can draw two initiative cards instead of one and choose whichever one they want to use. For $25, that's right, only $25, we have a reliable source. You can select one of the cast members on the show, and they will have to give an aside or a confessional. Perhaps it's about something that's happening in the show. Perhaps it's about a cast member. It could be about any number of things. In that same vein of storytelling, we have story time also at the $25 level, where you select a player and they're going to give you a bit of their backstory, maybe something that happened to them before they were on the show, or something that happened to them when you haven't seen them off screen on the show. For $50, you can get the dance party and control us like puppets on strings, where we are forced to dance for your amusement. At the $100 level, there is the physics be damned rule of cool. Each character comes up with the wild, most cinematic.
Finished all of Metaverse and finally have a Monday free to watch live for the first time every finally. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the great content.
Thank you. Thanks
for watching.
Thank you for watching. I'm glad to have you join us live. Thank you.
I hope you got your gold star for sitting through all of Metaverse, because that's a lot of your life gone now.
That is a lot of your life
enriched.
That is a...
And what I was just talking about, the rule of cool comes from just that. It's doing the wildest, craziest, most cinematic things. Each person will go through and they'll tell you their incredible physics-defying, all the laws of nature defying plan, and then you guys in chat get to vote and decide which one of them automatically critically succeeds and who still has to try, but in an extra penalty. And of course, at the big $250 level, there is the hack attack. Maybe you want to add a transforming alcoholic stagecoach. I don't know. Maybe you want to add a giant flood. Maybe you want to turn the enemies on the show into not Koopa Troopas and not infringing someone's copyrights. I mean, just about anything is possible when you're dealing with the hack attack. So now that I've talked about the store, how about I tell you a little bit about our cast? For our cast, we have Bryce Bebop as Vector Reigns, space hero, war veteran, and Holovid star. Vector continually seeks out his next great challenge so he can later boast about overcoming it. Christian Doyle is Jonamox, last survivor of a species of shape changers and an interdimensional criminal on parole with the team. Jonamox's vast experience as a dimension-hopping thief could be a great benefit to the team. Xander Layden is Paul, an enormous rock-like being and last survivor of their dimension. Paul is an expert in all things science, academic, medicine, and occult. Driven by insatiable curiosity, they greatly look forward to each new dimension and discovery on the team's travels. Helen Roundhill is Princess Hedgehog, the last remaining goblin from their dimension. Princess Hedgehog is a powerful practitioner of magic who greatly misses being the center of attention from their adoring fans. Combined together, they are the Reliables, traveling across time and dimensions to make the universe a better place, one mistake at a time. So before we get started, let's talk about the game system that we use on this show. Like many tabletop RPGs, Savage Worlds uses a dice system. The better a character or creature is at a skill or attribute, the higher the die used in conjunction with the attribute or skill. Success for many basic tasks requires only a roll of 4 or better, with those rolls that exceed the target number by 4 or more called raises. In addition, almost every die roll in Savage Worlds can ace. This is when the die roll is the highest possible number. When this occurs, you get to roll the die again and add it together, potentially triggering another ace. Initiative in Savage Worlds, or determining who goes within a turn, is determined by a deck of playing cards, with those drawing the highest cards acting first. In the case of a Joker, not only can that character take their turn at any time, including interrupting actions in progress, but any skill or attribute rolls made by that character within the turn gain a +2 bonus. Overall, Savage Worlds is fast, furious, and fun, just like the creators intended it to be. I hope you enjoyed the show and the game system. Previously on The Reliables. The team barely escaped the clutches of a new and terrifying threat of energy-based life forms, seemingly harvesting some sort of resource from another dimension. Worse still, these beings possessed dimensional hopping ships, eerily similar to the Reliance. With a phenomenal team effort, the ship was repaired enough to make a break for it, jumping to another dimension.
I feel like it's important to remind everyone of Christian's critical failures the last time he was on the show by giving James his #jam for all 4.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to let you know that as a player and a performer on the show, I appreciate you bringing that up at every possible opportunity.
Oh, thank you very much, Chet. Let's see. With a phenomenal team effort, the ship was repaired enough to make a break for it, jumping to another dimension, only to find themselves pursued by a pair of armed dimensional hopping ships, demanding that they surrender their stolen vessel or be destroyed. Damaged, unarmed, and outnumbered, things look grim for our team of heroes. Team leader John Stone has concocted a strategy he hopes can save his crew and their ship. His plan? Allow one of the vessels to close and prepare to board the Reliance, instead sending Vector Reigns, Jonamox, Paul, and Princess Hedgehog to counterboard their vessel, seize control of the bridge, and use its own weapons to target the second pursuing vessel. A bold and dangerous strategy with uncertain chances for success. And so we find our heroes just inside of the Reliance's airlock, awaiting whoever or whatever attempts to board. Metal on metal scraping sounds and the loud thuds of docking clamps echo within the chamber. The airlock is forced open, steam hissing from the opening, revealing 8 of those robot-like construct forms, identical to the dangerous enemies you previously faced, and armed with those deadly plasma weapons. Paul, your translator, is still intercepting the signal sent by these beings, and they seem to be under orders to exterminate all life forms aboard the ship and reclaim it.
I just want to reiterate that I did not steal this ship, so I don't know what they're talking about. This is probably a Pierce problem and not an us problem. Secondly, are we all okay with this plan that John Stone is going to have us boarded? And then
John Stone,
that seems counterintuitive.
There was a party. He didn't say what kind of party. He just said, come down here, meet up with some new people. It'll be a fun party.
Boarding party. It's a boarding party.
He neglected that one. Well, I feel overdressed.
No. This is good.
This is 100% not what I signed up for. And where is Rhonda? Rhonda is my shield. There is no Rhonda.
It's us. We got this. All we have to do is let the boarding party on and sneak in after them?
So I think providing food, snacks, party favors,
charcuterie
would be essential to any boarding party. Am I right?
Yes.
I'll get on the charcuterie then.
Why are we not on the same page as to what this mission is? I'm supposed to be the responsible one, guys.
I saw Victor all dressed up, and he usually knows what's up.
We are going to let these psychos in the scary ships board us, and then we are going to counterboard them.
I see.
This is a bad idea. Can't we outrun them? Can't we literally do anything else?
No, and I'll tell you why. This ship is basically made of whatever that ship crapped. At best. This is like the absolute worst recycled junkyard version of what that ship is. This ship has no weapons. This ship is held together in some places by spit. There's 2 of them, and they have guns.
Let's just take their ship.
And do what?
Not have it locked by computers?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we go and we take one of their ships.
Yeah.
And then what?
Now is an excellent time to break from the group. I mean, if we were going to do that, if we had stolen one of the ships, we could just take off.
That is literally the most tempting thing I have ever heard. I can't.
I don't have nanobots inside of me.
Yeah, but I do.
Oh, okay.
So he pushes a button, and I'm a really, really bad puddle. So
I find our arrangement mutually beneficial myself. I don't feel any.
Believe me, Paul, I find our relationship mutually beneficial as well, except that there's a sort of Damocles over me for no discernible reason.
Except for the part where you're a criminal.
Yeah, what crimes have I committed, Princess?
Well, to hear John Stone tell it, pretty much all of them.
Johnstone doesn't have the list. He's just assuming because another criminal told him that.
No honor amongst thieves, I guess.
I guess. So.
Okay, so we're stealing your ship and we're not.
Does everyone have their pirate counterboarding supplies with them?
Always.
Good.
I have my charm and my magic. That's about all I've got.
And I have something to cut a hole in the hull of their ship. So.
And with that, the airlock door opens, and of course, there are those armed individuals already there waiting with weapons in hand.
Love it.
Which means we're going to get to the fun little bit where we deal out cards from Initiative and Savage Worlds. That's right. Because that's how this is done in this game system. Here we go. Well, isn't that interesting?
Well,
I need a different card.
I know you, of course,
no.
can't have anything less than, or excuse me, under a or a 5 or under. So we've got to deal you a second card, and let's see what that one is.
Please be a joker.
It'll be a 5. That's how.
Let me get rid of your old card.
There.
I had to get rid of your old card. It decided to stay on top there. So you do have a 9. That's better. Unfortunately, looks like I got the Joker.
Guys get a Joker. Do we get a Benny?
No, that means usually I get one, but unfortunately on the show I only get them when the audience buys them for me, and they already bought me 4. So believe me, I'm going to put those to good use.
I'm sorry, we have been betrayed by the audience.
Yeah, they just like him better.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually like me better, but
fair.
Well, I don't know, James, because you are on the show every single week.
Yeah, they have to like you
obviously
better.
have to like you
I don't
better.
think it took you a half an hour to get ready.
probably not. But
Hey, James, I got a question.
Shoot.
So I've got quick draw, and it might allow me to interrupt an opponent's action.
It would typically give you that little bit if you were in like an ambush situation. Absolutely. Unfortunately, this isn't really an ambush. It was both sides kind of waiting, though it seems that your side was a little confused as to what you were waiting for there, as you don't have a lot of experience.
I was there expecting a boarding party.
I just wanted ham rolls.
Charcuterie.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait,
charcuterie
ham rolls are an option?
and other things were being discussed, but unfortunately, it's actually going to be plasma weapons and close quarters that will actually be happening here. And there are enough of them that each one of you is going to get shot at twice. So if I can have the studio roll some dice for me, I need 8-sided dice rolled for shooting attempts. Can I get 2 shooting attempts against Jonomox first? With a 7 and a 6. I believe I'm going to hit you with both of those, Jonomox.
I believe you are as well.
All right, so going straight to those damage rolls on both of those. Give me 2 8-sided dice used for damage, 2 separate times on Jonomox. Got an 11 and a 6. What have you got for toughness there, Jonomox?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I can't seem to get my mouse working, so hold on. Well, I don't know why it would. It's just the land of technical difficulties that we live in.
Reliably.
It truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Where the heck is my
Little
toughness?
breeze.
It's up by your parry and your
Cranberry
pace.
sauce on top.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Ooh.
Are we still on the Reliance, or are we on the boarding party ship?
You're technically still on the Reliance, but right where the airlock is meeting their forced entry.
Okay. So opening of a
So
new
at the
hope,
intersection of garbage and a bad idea.
That's not a bad term for it.
And to be clear, the Reliance is the garbage.
Yeah, it's one of the blacked out things on my character sheet. I can't see it. Pace, parry, and toughness are all blacked out.
Oh, I'm not sure how that happened for you. Perhaps we need to get you a different copy of your sheet at some point here.
Yeah, I will. at some point here.
I can try and find that for you, but I can't promise you I'm going to find it.
Okay.
Pace is 6, parry is 8, toughness is 6. You might want to record those.
686.
Yep. All right, now that I found those.
On this piece of paper. So yeah.
So let's see. We're going to equal your toughness with one of those, so that get that would be a shaken result, and then we will beat your toughness by 5 with one of those, which would be enough for a wound. You of course can use bennies to soak if you so choose.
No.
No.
I don't have that many, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fail this roll. I didn't.
Okay. So
Every roll.
Jonah Mox suffers a wound and is also shaken at this time.
Goody goody.
All right, we're going to do our next shooting attempts at Vector Rains and fire twice at him. Both of those are also at D8s for shooting. A 1 is definitely not going to. A 5 might.
I get -2 to all ranged attacks against me.
Oh, with dodge, that's going to mean that both of those shots miss you. You've got that. Unfortunately for you, I've got the Joker, so I have a +2 to my attempts, making those 3 and 7. So I'm still going to hit you once.
You know, such is life.
So if I can get 2 8-sided dice rolled for damage against Vector Rains. An 8. What is your toughness, Vector Rains?
12.
Oof, that is not enough to even get a shaken result. We will fire our next 2 shots at Paul. 2 8-sided dice for shooting attempts on Paul. We've got ourselves both of those coming up to 7s because of the Joker. So we are actually going to hit Paul twice. Now we got to roll some damage. 2 8-sided dice for damage against Paul twice. 4. I'm not sure that's going to even come close to your toughness, Paul.
Yep. Nope. They bounce off. Yep.
All right. And the second shot, see if it can do a little better than 4. 9? Is 9 going to do it?
No, they're just going to bounce right off. Yeah.
Being a giant rock-like creature does have its advantages, I would suppose. And that leaves the last 2 shots at Princess Hedgehog. Both of those also 8-sided dice attempts. A 1 is not going to hit, but that 8 aces and becomes the Joker a total of 13, which will hit with a raise. So not only is poor Princess Hedgehog going to take the 2 8-sided dice for damage, but an extra D6 for being hit with a raise.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this could be a very, very damaging hit on Princess
My tiny,
Hedgehog.
fragile body.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. You'll be fine.
Oof. 11 altogether could have been much worse for you. What have you got for toughness there, Princess?
I'm a 9.
A 9?
That's a lot higher than mine. You're doing
That
great.
is some...
Wait. Sorry, that's not true.
Okay.
9. Wait, no, I'm confused. Toughness. Oh no, because I have the body armor.
Yep. You
it's
do
a
have
9.
body armor on. So that is
9.
9, and that's only going to beat it by, well, 2, which is enough to get a shaken result, but not much else. So despite getting the Joker and getting the drop on you, not a lot of harm comes to you from the initial onslaught of plasma shots as these beings attempt to exterminate the crew on board the Reliance. And I believe that Vector Rains will be going next.
Okay. So we fought these before, so they won't blow up. Right?
No, they don't tend to blow up. Though the bodies look like robots, they're more like, well, metal action figures.
Okay. Hey, as long as they don't blow up, that's what I need to know. Because I'm gonna just start shooting. I'm gonna pull out my guns and just start blasting.
How many actions are you going to take? Are you going for a multi-action there?
I am
or?
going to go for multi-action, and I am going to use all of those actions to shoot.
So you're going to shoot 6 total times. Is that what I'm getting?
Shoot 6 total times.
Okay. Going to town. That usually would be a -4 multi-action penalty. Do you have anything to offset any of your shooting penalties
I
that
do
you
have
might get?
marksman, which
Okay.
What was that?
You do have marksman. That will make a difference.
So that will add +1 to my shooting roll, or ignore 2 points of penalties from called shots, cover, range, scale, or speed. None of which is multi-action, but
Still, that's going to be a +1 to the shooting test. So what kind of a shooting test do you get to make there? What do you have combining all
I
of your
roll a
special
D10.
talents?
I've got a D10.
A D10. It would be a D10 +1 for having marksman, but with a -4 for the multi-action, it's going to be a D10 -3. So your first shot is going to be a 0.
I'm going to use a Benny on that.
All right, you do have a few extra, being incredibly lucky. That second shot is going to do a lot better and hit it with a 6. So a 6 for your technically.
Hashtag Benny looks
first shot.
like the crew needs this.
Yay, thank you.
Ooh,
Thank
Thank
you.
We most def do. Thank you.
most
Thank
deaf
you.
do.
Thank you very much, chat. Much appreciated. So that one there is definitely going to hit. So we've still got 5 more shots coming from you, Vector Reigns. So let's see what we do on those.
Glory.
Even with the penalty, the second shot hits. Let's see about the third one. Also hitting. Vector Reigns really dropping it there. Oh, man. The fourth, that one aces, so it might hit with a raise. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that fourth one hits with a raise, and we still have 2 more shots for Vector Reigns. Wow. Proving your skills as a adept gunfighter. That one's not gun
I'm going
to.
to use a Benny.
Using a penny.
Ooh.
All right. Ooh, barely a hit. So far we have hit with 5 of those, one of those being a raise, and the 6th shot. Wow, that was 6 aces. All right, you hit all 6 times, one of those with a raise. So let's do that raise first. What kind of damage do you do with a raise on that?
It's 3d8 plus 2d4.
Ouch. 3d8 plus 2d4 for the first shot from Vector Reigns with the raise. Wow. And with a 15, it is going to be enough to disable one of your foes. And as the action figure-like robot sort of body collapses to the ground, just as you previously experienced, this golden burst of energy flies forth from its chest, only this time it doesn't have a mothership to fly to and just flies straight into wiring in the hallway and disappears back on board its own vessel somewhere. And we've still got 5 damage rolls of 3d8 from Vector Reigns to do, because he is an accomplished pistolero. 14 disables a second one. There are now 2 down. Let's see about a third one. That third one, you're only going to be able to get a shaken result on. The fourth one. Oh, man, another one disabled. The 5th one. Oh, 2 of those, I believe 2 of those aced, so that just gets worse. Very, very, very downed on that one. And the 6th and final shot from Vector Reigns. Wow. So of these 6 shots, 5 of them disable opponents, leaving only 3, one of whom is shaken before anyone else even has a chance to do much of anything but get shot by them. That is pretty impressive. And I believe that Jonah Mox would be next.
What is the wound penalty?
Wound penalty is 1, but you are shaken, so I'm going to need that spirit roll unless you want to spend a Benny right out the gates.
I guess I'm gonna, give you that spirit roll.
What's your spirit, Jonah Mox?
My spirit is also printed very small. 8.
All right, so a D8 and a D6 wild die. Let's see how well we can do on this one. 7, it's enough to succeed, but not enough for a raise.
What would a raise get me?
Well, with a raise, you can also act in addition to shrugging off being a shaken. Of course, you can simply spend a Benny to immediately remove the shaken status if you so choose.
I think that's all I'm going to get this round. That was fun.
Okay. Jonah Mox will shrug off the shaken, and that will move us to Princess Hedgehog.
Sure. Let's see. So there are only 3 left, and one of them shaken.
Yeah. Vector Reigns did some impressive close quarters shooting and took down 5 of them in rapid succession.
Well, you know, my priorities are very seldom going to be to hurt another person unless it's going to be fun. In which case, I think.
Well, before we get to what you do, keep in mind, poor Princess, that you are also shaken as a result from your injury. So I'm going to need a spirit test before you can make any actions. And then, of course, if it doesn't work out, you could always spend a Benny to just act anyway. But you might as well take that spirit test and see how well you do right out the gate.
But if it does work out, what is your action?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, if it does work out, I was going to go over to Jonah Mox and be like, "Oh my God, I can heal you because your luck."
That was the only right answer. That was the only right answer.
Oh, don't worry, I've got you. All right, but yeah, so I'm rolling 12 for spirit.
All right, so a D12 and a D6. You have quite the incredible one. That would be a success, but not a success with a raise, so you wouldn't be able to act with that dice roll. You could, of course, just spend a Benny and get to act anyway if you want to. But...
I think I'm going to spend a Benny.
All right,
Feeling
1
reckless
Benny
today.
spent, and that means you get to act even though you were shaken, throwing that shaken result completely off. And you wanted to heal Jonah Mox? Was that what you were going
I do.
for?
I'm going to run up and be like, "Oh my God, in the time that we were talking before the airlock opened, I totally could have thrown arcane protection over everyone, but I didn't, and now you're injured, so I should probably do something about that."
Yes, thank you so much. I totally got shot because you weren't prepared.
You were just so interesting talking about charcuterie. Wait, that wasn't you. Never mind.
No. Also, he wasn't prepared, and they weren't prepared.
No one was prepared.
I was
right,
prepared.
so yes, I'm going to. You were prepared to lip off and not to give any instructions on how we were actually going to do this. So we're rolling spell casting.
Yes, what is your spellcasting skill?
That's also a 12.
Oh, a D12 and a D6 coming from Princess Hedgehog, throwing out, a 6 is a success. That is enough to remove a wound from Jonah Mox. So that wound penalty is now gone, and your injury has simply faded away into nothing through the magic powers.
And before I go and hide behind Paul, I'm going to say, "You're absolutely welcome. Never criticize me again."
You're short.
Oh, and that brings us, of course, to Paul. What have you got for us, Paul?
I want to clarify. These are synthetic beings that are driven by energy-based life forms, correct?
Correct. That is what you've surmised from your previous encounter with them. You also, of course, have your translation device that you were able to find their encrypted form of communication, which is rapid and amazing, but strange.
Yeah. So, bearing in mind that it doesn't seem like these energy forms are really harmed when their shells are disabled, Paul is going to slowly step up to, there's 3 still standing, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm not sure how they're bunched, but if there's an area where there's 1 or 2,
Johnny
the
Mox is
closest.
in this episode, so I expect you'll want this.
That's fair.
Thank you,
no,
chat.
Thank you. Hedging it. Yep.
Wait, is that Sharon? Man, everybody's picking on me today.
It's just so easy.
Oh, that is marvelous. I'm sorry you were interrupted there for a moment. What were you telling about stepping
yeah.
up to as close to a few of them as you could? Was that
I'm going
it?
to step up to a few, and Paul is pretty tall, so they're just going to kind of punch through the ceiling and rip open a tube, knowing that there's going to be some sort of hazardous material directly above them, and just get it raining down on them.
All right. Going for some intense hazardous material hose action. All right. I'm going to need from you
That is
first.
100% my move.
Yep.
I think a science roll is necessary to determine which tube you're going to use first. And we're going to have the multi-action penalty of 2 attached to your actions, as you're going to need to make 2 rolls here. So what's your science skill?
Science, that's a 10 plus 2.
All right, so that balances out to a straight D10 with the penalty. Gives you a 5, is a success. And we will follow that with athletics that you will use to physically force your stone hands through the ceiling, grab hold of this hazardous material tube, and yank it down.
That's going to be an 8 for me.
All right, a D8 and the D6 wild die. Even with the -2 penalty, we have an ace, which gets it to 10 minus 2, 8 is a success with a raise. So as you yank the tube down and begin spraying their bodies with this corrosive, hazardous material, because of your raise, they're going to have to make their vigor rolls at -2. So if I can get 3 6-sided dice rolled, all of them at a -2 penalty, as these things are all struck by Paul's attack. Oh man, 1, 1, and 1 with the -2 penalty in place, and corrosive material sprays all over them. While their metal bodies are still somewhat intact, they are now going to be considered distracted and vulnerable until they have a chance to get out of that spray of terrible, terrible substances, which of course is going to bring us to another round of initiative
When I laid
cards.
down to see more of the metaverse, I did not know what to expect. How strange to once again find myself here. You are all new, but I look forward to seeing your progress with great anticipation. #shoutout.
Thank you so much, chat. Thank you very much. And here we go with the next round of cards. It looks like that, Paul, you get to go immediately again, the way this is working out. Having hosed them with hazardous materials, that Ace of Hearts is the first action card, and you're going to get to continue doing whatever you so choose to these poor, distracted, vulnerable beings.
Yeah. So that was the reliance I just damaged. I think my first instinct is just going to be to repair it. I can't let that stand. This is not a good idea. Yeah.
That is not terrible.
I'd also like to just kind of while I'm doing that, maybe just kind of gently push one over while they're being burned by the acid.
All right, going for another multi-action. We're going to go through repair skill first. What do you have for repair?
Repair, a 10 plus 2.
All right, so even with the multi-action penalty, that still becomes a 4, and you're able to put those tubes back together without causing significant damage to the Reliance. And then the athletics test will, of course, follow it up to push your opponent. And I believe the athletics you said was a D8?
That was an 8, yeah.
All right, a D8 and the D6, the -2 multi-action penalty. That aces again. Wow, and we're going to have a 12 with the 2-point penalty. So that poor guy is going to make his own strength roll at a D8 to try and resist being pushed. He is, of course, at a -2, and your result is actually 2 points higher because of the vulnerability. So you very much push him backwards. It's less gentle than you intended to, and there's a good 5 or 6 feet of ground clearance that his body makes before bouncing off of a wall and landing in the corridor. But you most certainly shoved that person over, or that being, as it were. Nicely done, Paul. Queen of Spades, that would be Princess Hedgehog going next.
Sure. How many of them are still standing now that Paul has unleashed?
Technically 2 are standing. The third is still functional, but has been launched back down the hallway where it came from and bounced off the ground a few times from Paul's shove.
Okay, great. In that case, I am going to... Well, I was going to kick one in the shins, but I think probably using magic is a better plan. I am going to cast speed on my cohorts.
Oh, really? On everyone?
Oh, that's a bad idea. You're right.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a bad idea at all.
Why,
That's
why would that be a bad idea?
Yeah, why would
Oh,
that
it would be a bad
idea?
idea because it would use the remainder of, or not the remainder, but most of my magic, or my magic points at this point. But I figure it should last, 5 rounds? And there are only 2 of them left.
That's right.
Which means we can make a speedy move through their ship once these 2 are taken care of. So, yeah, I'm going to do it.
All right. That spell casting is a D12, is
Actually,
it not?
It is a
Wait.
12. And actually, I am, because I plan on writing on somebody, I will only cast it on my compatriots and not on myself.
All right. So you are the only one not benefiting from speed. So we'll get that
I mean,
D12.
I don't need it. I'm basically invulnerable, and I'm just so clever.
I can't argue with that.
Good.
All right, let's go ahead and get that D12 and D6 from the spell casting of Princess Hedgehog. Getting some extra speed on their companions. A 6 is a success, so you're going to give them a success on speed. What is speed going to give your allies with a success?
Okay, cool. So their pace is doubled. And it didn't raise, did it?
No, it didn't raise.
So yes, so their speed is doubled.
Oof. So everyone is moving very, very quickly now. Even Paul, who usually doesn't move so quickly, is moving at Olympic runner speeds. And with Princess Hedgehog finishing up her magic, we go to the newly healed and revitalized Jonamox.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Jonamox.
Hi,
You're
Jonah.
welcome once again.
As I am a little, I'm a little salty right now with the party because they didn't know what a boarding party was. And I'm over it now, but I am going to shoot them a dirty look while stabbing one of those things in the neck.
Super over it.
And then throwing my other knife that I just pull out of seemingly nowhere at the other one that's still up.
All right, so that's going to be a fighting test and an athletics
I
test.
expect double ones on both rolls.
All right, so what's your fighting capability there, Jonamox?
Oh, 12. It's my biggest dice. It was the only thing I thought I had a statistical chance of being able
Do you,
to.
do you get a bonus for using knives?
Oh, I do. I do indeed. Because I have signature weapon, right?
Yeah, you believe we get a +1 if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
I do.
All right, so even with the multi-action penalty, that is a 7 on the fighting test, which is going to be a success. And then the athletics test, which follows that. What is your athletics score there?
That I can look up very easily now. I love it when that happens. Athletics is 10.
All right, this one also, not a critical
boy.
failure. But,
You're right. I will spend a penny on that.
all right.
That's a bit
much better. And you end up getting 7s on both of those. So both of those are going to hit for standard damage. And what kind of damage do you do with knives, Jonamox?
I'm really glad you asked because I'd been wanting to look that up for some time. My main knife is the strength plus 2d6 because that's the big scary knife,
Okay.
and the other knife is just a knife.
Okay. So let's do what's your strength then?
8.
All right, so a D8 and 2D6 for the close combat is a brutal 12 damage, and your opponent is now disabled. And the thrown one is just the single 8 and the D6. 6 isn't enough to knock them down or make them any worse, but it does mean they have a knife stuck into their action figure-like body now.
That'll show them.
If nothing else, it looked good.
I'm just like, guys, that's a boarding party.
Mhm. And to clarify, because we skipped over my card, unfortunately, they are not able to act on this turn because of the horrible corrosive substances that were dumped on their body by Paul. So they have been out of action for this turn, which brings us to Vector Reigns to finish out this combat round.
So there's one on the ground and one.
Jones is an interesting character who seems to be hiding more than his fair share of secrets. I'm interested to know one of them. #story time.
Oh, looks like we're going to get a story from Jonamox here at some point. So tell us about that, Vector. You had one up, one prone.
Okay, so one prone, one up. I'm just gonna. Can I just casually walk forward and just fire off a shot at each?
Absolutely. And, no multi-action penalty on this one. So what's that shooting die again?
It is a D10 plus 1 for the first.
All
shot.
right, so a D10 plus 1. It's actually at plus 3 because they're distracted and vulnerable.
Nice.
Oh, man, that first one is gonna ace there. That's definitely gonna hit with that raise damage. And the second one? Oh, also gonna hit with a raise. So 2 hits at raise damage. What do you do for raise damage?
3d8 plus 2d4. And
Ouch!
And because they're vulnerable, I am an assassin, and they get I get an extra 2 damage on each of them.
3d8 plus 2d4 plus 2 as Jonamox, or excuse me, as Vector Reigns finishes off one opponent, and then one more die roll there. Oh, 22 damage on the first one. Whew. And 20 with an ace on none of those 4-sided dice.
So,
Oh,
like, as I'm walking,
22.
Like, "Boo, boo." So, if you had, where do we get brie? I want to wrap brie with prosciutto.
I don't know what either of those words are.
It's charcuterie.
I think we need a cow to start, and then we culture the milk.
Can you work on that, Paul? Can you?
I
get us
don't
a
know.
cow?
Well, we do have that matter printer device. Trying to say this in simple terms.
Thank you.
Might be able to get going on that if you've got this handled.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got this right. Yeah.
Guys, seriously. What's charcuterie?
It's food.
Nobody knows.
It's little food. That's why it's cute. And
Old
sometimes you cook
bread.
it, so it's charred. So it's charred, cute-ery.
I can't tell if you're messing with
Oh my
me or
God.
not.
Why would I do that? I never mess about food or parties. Which
I'm concerned because I am both small and cute, and I would like to not be charred.
you are eerie as well. So you got the whole thing. You could be charred and cute and eerie.
I'm leaving.
Let's go. We're really fast.
Oh no.
Yeah.
well, the ship awaits you. The corridor now cleared of hostiles.
I would like to attempt now to shift into liquid form, just because this is only going to go bad for me anyway.
That is not a terrible idea. Why don't you tell me what your focus roll is, and we can see
That'll be
about
a
shifting
D8.
you.
I'll take
All right,
a
a
D8.
D8 and a D6 as Jonamox attempts to shift into liquid form.
Oh wow. Huh.
Oh.
Jonamox flops on the ground like a fish.
I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it very quick.
Fascinating.
It is quite embarrassing to see.
We're
Really
supposed
is.
to do something here, Jonamox?
Fastest fail in the West.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is this a tactical move or?
It's,
Maybe
it's
you all
less,
could just go without me.
it's less of a turn into liquid form and more he kind of like droops and drips and oozes a bit.
Yeah, now I'm melting.
Yeah.
Making that speed enchantment you just put on me completely useless. So that's awesome. That's great.
Hmm.
Why don't you all
Okay,
go on ahead?
so
and
I
I'll
have a
catch up.
terrifically bad idea.
Go on.
Join the crew of an errand.
We do love a terrifically bad idea. I do have a jar with me. I could scoop him up.
All right. Best case scenario, you fit a small portion of me into that jar. I mean,
Yes, but that portion will be high as balls.
And with us.
it doesn't breathe. You're just making fun of me now. I get it. It's really, really funny. Ha!
Can I help him along?
I think John and Mox can
Look,
only
I can
see
heal your
things when
body,
no
but I
one is
can't heal
looking.
your bad
Like
luck.
the person who turns invisible from the mystery men.
Yeah.
So you go ahead and scoop up as much of that as you want, Princess, and it just will be whatever you need it to be. It'll be a funny joke for you to
I
share.
mean, friends with benefits are good, but jamming up the works seems more Johnny Mox style. Even I can't actually fail this badly. Hashtag jam.
Oh man, they've given me a whole pile of benefits
man.
to use against you
Can we
guys.
just drape Jonah
Oh
Mox
my gosh.
on Paul's back?
That's what I was thinking. I mean,
Just
if that's
goofy and
workable.
lays on it?
I can move. Don't worry. Just
Okay.
go.
Okay.
Okay, let's roll.
Leave me alone.
I
As you
am
push
scooping up some of you, and I'm going to give it to Rhonda later.
on.
That's
Ah.
really offensive. Thank you.
The team
Anytime.
pushes ahead. Jonah Mox partially jarred by
Ooh, Princess.
Princess and oozing along the corridor. And in fact, while we have here, reconstituting his form and putting himself back into a more solid shape. While he's having a really bad time, maybe Jonah Mox can tell us a little story about himself.
Sure. So, there I was. Again. Look, facts are facts, and the fact is, I've always been bad at this. I'm good at lots of things. I can steal, I can hide, I can fight, I can kill people. But shape changing, my one natural talent, I have always sucked at. My people are all shape changers, every single one of them, and I might just be the very worst one. It's a combination of talent and skill. I have neither really at any appreciable level. My mother could turn into a fire-breathing dragon just by thinking about it hard enough, and I have trouble turning myself into a pile of inert goo that is neither acid nor base. My best trick is silly putty. I can't believe they're carrying me in a jar. Can't believe I'm getting carried by a goblin in a jar. This is my life now.
Ouch. A little insight into the psyche of Jonah Mox there. That's rough. Little backstory there. Ouch. Well, you have entered the vessel and have encountered no further resistance at this point so far. And in fact, going through the ship as you're making it has fairly remarkable similarities to the Reliance, your own ship. Just, it's obviously not cobbled together and repeatedly repaired and had panels replaced with whatever happened to be lying around. There's not so much exposed wiring or rust or things that drip at different locations. And some of the passages and chambers you go by.
Princess Hedgehog
Oh.
hashtag confessional.
Oh my.
Oh, okay. Are
Well,
we
we'll
doing
hold
that
on to that
right
for
now?
just a minute and then we'll get to it. But so it's very similar layout wise, but obviously not constructed for biological beings to dwell on it. There's no cell or chambers or kitchen places. In fact, most of the facilities on here are seemingly empty with tremendous amounts of conduits and wiring running almost everywhere. A lot of it exposed, going across the floor, across walls, along the ceiling. It is a rather interesting setup, but overall the structure is very, very similar to the Reliance.
So, as we're walking, can I, cut some of that wiring since we saw the weird energy travel along it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just hash marks every once in a while with lasers.
Yeah,
I'd like to-
sparks fly, things are damaged by it.
Once I manage to pull myself together, after about a minute, I'm going to give that same thing a try.
All right, going to turn to liquid again?
Yeah, but now that nobody's watching, it should be fine.
Okay.
Now that the rest of the party has gone away.
All right, let's see that that D8 and that D6 from Jonah Mox to try and shift forms.
I demand someone else roll.
Oh, we have an ace. Wow, we have an 11. That's a success with the raise. It's not just liquid. It is the exact consistency of liquid that you desired to be. Perfect.
And lasts twice as long. They're not even going to know it's me. Now I'm going to make a stealth roll. And
Absolutely. What is your stealth?
It's 10.
All right. A 5 is a success.
Yeah. I'm going to re-roll that.
Okay. Re-rolling that.
That's better.
6 aces. So a 7 or an 8. I think you're probably going to go with the 8. And I believe you've got some kind of a bonus when you're stealthing,
Yes,
don't you?
Yeah, that'll give me 2 to that. So with
a 10.
my form. Yeah.
Oh wow. So that is a success with a raise and then some. You are now completely liquid.
Now I can follow my party along. They don't have to look at me, which is nice for them. And I can, scout behind and take things that aren't nailed down.
Absolutely. There doesn't seem to be a lot of materials to take so far on the ship, but then again, you haven't made it to the bridge or cargo hold. Now, one of the nice things about this layout being so familiar is that you happen to have a pretty good idea precisely where the bridge is, because it's probably in the same spot as the bridge is on the Reliance. And as you approach it, security doors begin to close and clamp shut, trying to cut you off. And again, Paul, that translator of yours comes in handy as you can hear the energy forms communicating, attempting to seal off access to the bridge to keep the intruders out.
Can I try to throw in some noise, basically? Like counterintelligence, essentially?
I have no problem with you attempting to do so using the translator device. You did previously use it to cause them quite a bit of hardship when you dealt with them before. So how about you give me a electronics roll to do that?
Electronics. Yeah, just trying to, competing orders, That's going to be a 10.
All right. A D10 and a D6 from Paul. Ooh.
I'd like to spend a penny on that.
All right, a penny spent. Much better. That 10 aces. Oh, man. With a 19. In fact, your counterintelligence you began putting in to disrupt the signals is so good that instead of the doors closing just in front of you to cut you off, they start to open just in front of you to let you through.
Hey, okay. Huh.
Getting the timing just perfect, and you were able to go through several of these corridors that would be able to seal you off. At this point, all of you have realized that Jonamox is nowhere to be seen.
He'll catch up.
And the part of him that is in the jar that you're carrying, Princess Hedgehog, is liquid. Complete liquid.
You got T2 in the jar.
Yep, and it's shifting color as you move along. The liquid is shifting color as you move along to match whatever it is that you happen to be holding the jar up against at any time.
Oh, that's super cool.
Perfect. So where I was riding on Paul's shoulders and like doing the sign thing every time, pretending that with magic I was opening the doors, like a toddler. Now I'm like looking at the jar and holding it up against different backdrops, being like, yeah.
It is a pretty fascinating thing.
Yeah, no.
Hey, while we're on that pretty fascinating thing from you, Princess, why don't we hear from you, our one and only reliable source?
So here's the deal. I feel like Bonamus doesn't necessarily like me. And I mean, I I get it. Like, Jonah Mox doesn't like a lot of people, but I'm really likable. At least I'm very good at getting people to like me from a distance. My social media is absolutely popping. By the way, you should follow me on Twitter. But for some reason, I can't get Jonah Mox to just, love me. So first I try to heal him, but that does nothing but make him annoyed, I guess. So then I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll annoy him. Reverse psychology, and he'll just love me. And besides, somebody told me that having a friend is always having a small part of them with you, so I think I'm winning. I have a small part of him with me.
Oh, absolutely wonderful, Princess. So good to hear that. And by now you have made your way through these corridors and hallways to the bridge, which because of the signals Paul was continuing to send out through his translator, rather than being sealed off and keeping you out, the doors simply open right as you approach.
I always wondered why John Amox couldn't just shape change to remove his tracking chip. Then I watched him try to shape change on the show over and over. I understand now.
Why?
Thank
He's
you,
already on the
chat.
ground. Why you gotta kick him?
Oh, ouch.
It's
Beautiful.
easy. They're on the internet. This is basically what they do as a people.
I don't know. They're trying to kick you, but have you ever tried to curb stomp water?
All
It
the
just
time.
splashes up and hits you back.
And yet it's the
Well.
most fun thing in the world for a child to do.
I kick snow. I'll kick water.
Which
in all
might be why
forms.
everyone's doing it.
Mhm. Splashing in mud puddles is always fun.
Yep.
Now, the bridge on this vessel looks nothing like the bridge on the Reliance. There are no manual piloting controls, no seat to occupy. In fact, the major feature of this bridge is a massive clear cylinder from floor to ceiling containing a huge amount of glowing yellow energy in it. It is flowing out through conduits and bleeding off into sections of the ship. It is a rather interesting thing to see. There are quite a few of those automatons that you've seen previously and fought with the plasma weapons, but they're against the walls and unmoving as though inactive at the present moment. But Paul, your translator tells you that's not going to be for long, as clearly you have been detected on the ship, and their leadership, however they're really organized, you're still analyzing it, has ordered them to occupy these forms and delay you long enough to engage a self-destruct sequence on this ship.
Oh, that's super helpful.
Yeah, I convey that in concise terms.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely dangerous. So that means I'm going to get over to this side here and deal out some cards for everyone as we see how you're going to confront this wonderful threat.
While you are doing that and they are still immobile, I'm going to run up and kick one in the shins.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
take that.
quite the sight. And of course, no one has seen Jonamox still, besides the amount that is being carried by Princess Hedgehog in the jar. You've all seen that several times.
Woo.
Oh, wow. Looks like we have a Joker dealt
Hey.
to Princess
I'll take that, Benny.
Hedgehog.
Yeah.
That puts a Benny back in everyone's pile,
Nice.
Yeah.
except for mine. But don't worry, I have lots that the chat bought me, and I'm going to use them.
That's super great.
Yay.
The chat bot. Okay, never mind.
Yes. Yes.
That's
yes.
not- it
Now, of
wasn't
course, because you
funny.
have the
I'm
Joker,
sorry.
you can
Never mind.
choose to go
So
first.
that means I go first?
You can choose to go
Oh,
first, or
boy.
you can choose to interrupt any turn in
Okay.
progress at any time. So I leave it to you to decide, do you want to go first?
I don't actually think that I do at this
Okay.
juncture.
Well, remember, because you have that Joker, at
Yes.
any point that you feel like you want to go, even when someone else is going, just go ahead and hop in and let us know, because with the Joker, you get to do that. And that means that Jonamox is actually going to lead us off, who no one knows where he is or what exactly he is up to except for Jonamox.
I would like to.
Hashtag story time. Let's be real. Failed shape change is the new bank punch. Or maybe it's totally rocket boots for Johnny Mox.
Oh, that's right. I have a long history of hilarious failures.
Ouch.
Is Johnny Mox in the same jar as the drug fungus if it's carried by Princess Hedgehog?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's in the same jar, and if she shakes it up, it's
It
going
is.
to be a cocktail to end all cocktails.
Yeah, that's
Because Jonah Mox is canonically delicious. So
It's true. It's true.
there is a big yellow glowing thing in this bridge.
yes,
It looks-
there is.
It looks incredibly valuable, but there are robot guys about to wake up and kill us all. Is that correct?
Oh, kill them. I mean, you're pretty sure in your liquid form seeping along that nothing has any idea that you're even here.
Great. Then I'm going to start unhooking that thing, bolt by little bolt, because I don't know what it is, but it glows and I wants it.
Do you happen to have a thievery or repair skill, and which would
Oh.
you like to use?
I have got both.
What's your choice
And-
of skill, then?
And I have a sweet tool set to go to break this mofo down. Let's get that. And so, do I want to use the repair or do I want to use the? Wait, what was my other option?
Thievery or repair?
Oh yeah, no, thievery sounds like the way to go.
All right. What
I
is
got
your-
a 10. I got a 10 plus 1 on that thievery.
All right. Details. And that 10 aced.
Oof. Oof.
And that 10 aced
Oh.
again.
Oof.
And
Oh,
again.
many oofs.
Making
it's
up for
not
some
a
of those
combat
critical
thing, so-
failures. A 39, which is a success with...
May not be able to turn into a puddle of goo, but I can disassemble an entire Buick in a minute and a half.
That's a success with 9 raises for anyone watching
Uh-huh.
at home.
Damn.
Which would count in a, say, a dramatic task or something similar as immediately getting 10 successes on his own. Jonamox, you slither
No.
and ooze up to these bolts and holding locations where these tubes
And just start
connect. And just disconnect and disconnect and disconnect. And this glass shielding falls completely away right before all of your eyes. And this energy, no longer contained, simply explodes outwards. Not in a devastating type explosion, but as in a like a light bulb shattering and the light flashing before everyone's eyes. And as it clears,
Damn it, the gold leaked out.
yeah, as it clears, every system on board the ship shuts down, goes dark, and powers off. And you can feel the weight as it begins to sag, and the weight of it is probably pulling the Reliance itself towards the ground below, as it's simply a dead weight at this time, with no power, no energy source, and nothing on board anymore. In fact, you can't even hear the voices anymore. Paul, it's your translator is picking up nothing from them. It's like they just immediately left.
Guys, I don't think anyone's left.
Okay, I've changed my mind.
But yes, on the positive side, you're pretty sure the
I don't want to steal the
self-destruct
ship
thing.
anymore since it's dying.
You're pretty sure the self-destruct thing isn't going to happen now, but you're also pretty sure it's just a lot of tonnage of dead weight pulling the Reliance down towards the ground.
Uh-oh. I think I did that wrong. Well, I'm going to sneak my way out of here then.
Shoot.
We got
And
snacks
to all
at
of
the
you-
Alliance, guys.
And to all of you besides Jonamox, it appeared to be a spontaneous series of events that happened. You're not exactly sure how that went down. The containment just collapsed, the energy left, everything shut off.
So is this?
I'm going
Is
to pop
this
up
the
in front of them.
self-destruct?
Okay, guys.
Whoa,
Uh,
whoa.
I may have made a slight mistake. I unhooked that big yellow thing.
Good job.
I thought it looked valuable, but it turns out powers the entire ship. So I imagine we've got like what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes before we crash us and the Reliance into the ground. Maybe we should try and get control of this bad boy, eh? Paul, the power source is right here.
It was right there.
Mhm.
Take a look at.
There's nothing. For me to
Well,
try.
I'll see what I can do. I'd like to, see if there's any rerouting of power on this bridge that's available to me.
Go ahead and give me an electronics roll. Will do. What is your electronics, Paul?
Electronics. That's a flat 20.
20.
Wait, what?
How'd you
not
get a 20?
Yeah, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Whoa! There is no 20 in Savage Worlds.
Sounds good.
So I can just say that, and it'll get rolled, though.
I believe him.
Yeah, it's like a 30. Yeah.
He said
Yeah,
it, or they
it's
said it was
100.
so much authority.
He did. That's a D10 and a D6, I believe, right?
That's Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
The 6 aces. An 8 is a success with the raise. You believe if you had an outside power source, you could probably maybe get some nominal systems going on this, but it has absolutely no power going through the entire vessel at all. It's as though every bit of energy in this thing just immediately left and turned it into a giant paperweight.
Yeah, this is not happening. I guess maybe a good pilot could do something. I'm kind of dead weight right now as far as power goes.
I'm a good pilot, but without power.
Outside power source? An outside power source is what we need?
Yeah, I mean, if we could hook this up to something else, maybe we could get something going. But
I have a
Why don't we
sponge in a
just-
jar
why don't we
with some
just-
Jonah Mox. Is it a battery? Probably not.
Wait, what if we just use the Reliance like an extension cord?
Let's get a jump.
it's
You
brilliant.
think the Reliance can run this?
You just need enough. You just needed enough electricity. I mean, it should be fine. It's just power, right?
I mean, it would be like giving it a
Okay.
jump.
Yeah.
And
Just the
also
same way
a
that,
little
like,
like hot wiring it at the
A
same
Ford
time.
Fiesta can run a Ferrari if I knew what that meant.
I'm just saying, the Reliance doesn't run on a yellow thing. Maybe we can do this.
So John Stone wanted us to use this ship to fight the other ship, right?
To target the other ship using its weapon systems, if you could.
So I mean, all we need is the weapon systems up.
Well, we
That's
don't
true.
have weapon systems, but I do have a crazy idea.
I'm game.
I love a crazy idea. Tell me.
Well, you're a great pilot, right, Vector?
The best.
Great. So you have at least one shot if we release this at the right time.
Ooh, I see what you're saying. I like ramming things.
Well, it's more like bombing things or flinging the other ship physically into the other. Yeah.
I mean, it's just a big rocket. That's what I'm hearing. Is that
Oh my God.
That.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
we're all gonna die sometime, princess.
Great.
The physics
So
are sound.
go take the wheel, and I'll get the thing ready. Well, me and Paul will get this ready to unhook, and you just say now, and we'll.
Okay, so looking around, is there anywhere for me to steer?
There doesn't seem to be controls designed
No.
for a humanoid.
To steer the Reliance.
Oh yeah, I could do that. Yeah.
Steer
yeah.
the Reliance, and we'll just use this big dead weight as a giant club that we can throw at people.
Princess. What if? you
Oh,
came
yes,
back
like
with
the princess.
me, and we were on the Reliance safe, away from the uncoupling, and you made snacks.
I think that's a great idea. I would love to make snacks. I'm great at making snacks. Everybody okay with me going back to the Reliance and making snacks?
We need cows, but we should do that.
All right. It sounds like you guys have the beginnings of a plan there. You're able to race back through the corridors of this unpowered ship to the Reliance. It is still, of course, attached at the airlock, but that seems to be part of your plan. So we're going to be using a combination effort of skills to disconnect the magnetic locks on board the airlock here and fling a ship at another ship. Am I following correctly?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so the three of you who are participating in this activity, I'm going to need a relevant skill roll. So as I go to each one of you, I want you to tell me what skill you're using and why you think that it is relevant to the situation. And I would like to start with Paul.
So I am going to be jury-rigging a power source to give this ship enough juice to basically ram the opposing ship. So I'm thinking... I'm thinking repair might actually be applicable for this sort of MacGyvering setup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be using repair. All right. What about you, Jonah Mox? What skill do you think is going to be relevant, and how are you going to apply it?
I am going to use the hacking skill to calculate the trajectory at which we have to so I can figure out exactly when I need to let go and blow the airlock.
All right, repair hacking. And I think I know what Vector Reigns is going to do, but I want to ask him anyway what skill he's going to use that he thinks is relevant. Shooting.
I'm shooting a big gun with the thing. I assume piloting.
Shooting a ship at another ship. Okay. Well, let's go through and see how well these rolls turn out.
Wait,
We're again going to start with Paul and his repair roll.
Sick.
That's a 10 plus 2, baby.
All right, a D10 plus 2 for Paul and repair with the D6 wild die. That 10 aces. Wow, and we've got a total of 16.
Okay.
That's a success with 3 raises from Paul for his contribution to this wild, crazy, and potentially brilliant plan. How about hacking from Jonah Mox? What's your hacking skill?
My hacking skill is an 8. Yes, it's an 8. But I'm going to use my cyber deck
Oh,
because I happen to have one. Just happen to. So that'll give me a bonus on the roll of 2.
all right. D8, a D6, and we have a plus 2 bonus. That's 6 aces. And we are going to have a total of 9, a success with a raise from Jonah Mox. That is pretty good so far. We have 6 total successes from the two of you when we get to Vector Reigns. Shooting a ship at another ship.
Yeah.
So, question. I'm assuming a ship has a rate of fire 1. So
Yes.
So would I get a plus 1 to my marksman from marksman to it?
Quite applicably, yes. This, in fact, might come as a surprise to no one, but this is not the first time Vector Reigns has shot a ship with another ship. He
I
has
am
experienced
actually
this before.
offended right now.
So what's that shooting roll of yours?
Sorry, the outside ships were so loud.
No, sorry about that. I was explaining, Vector Reigns, that this is not the first time that you have shot a ship with another ship.
That's true.
So what is your shooting score?
It's D10.
All right, so a D10 and a D6, and that plus 1 from marksman comes into play. That 10 aces. We're going to get a 12. That is a success with 2 raises, putting it at 9 total successes between the 3 of them. And with perfect timing, the trajectory is plotted. The jury-rigged power is engaged to disengage the maglocks, and this ship is hurled off from the back end of the Reliance, colliding in a terrible mess of metal, exploding parts, and shrapnel with the other vessel. Unfortunately, and the process of ripping it clean did significant damage to the Reliance itself. And while it is not a crash landing, it is not a perfect and comfortable landing that the Reliance is forced to do. And she is in desperate need of some serious repairs. Now, on the plus side, not too far behind where you're able to set the Reliance down, there's 2 ships worth of parts that you could potentially accumulate for repairs. And to make the whole job easier, you still have a little anti-grav hover sled that was pirated from these beings in your last encounter with them that once held parts on it and could quite possibly do so again.
I'm scavenging
Great.
everything.
Yep. Taking
Now,
a
of
gander.
course, on the bad end of things, this dimension, this planet within it that you happen to be on, is a trackless desert waste. It is incredibly hot, which most of you find terribly uncomfortable. Jonah Mox,
No, this is nice.
you
This
love
is
it.
so nice.
It is a perfect 120 degrees Fahrenheit for yourself. It's lovely. It doesn't bother you so much, Paul, but it is a slight discomfort to you. You do tend to ignore
because
most
lizards keep
temperatures.
sunning themselves on him.
You tend to ignore most temperatures. Extreme heat and extreme cold can affect you, but not very much. This is just a little too warm for you, not enough to really have too much of a bother for you. However, Victor Rain's Princess Hedgehog, this is uncomfortably hot for you.
Not a fan.
It is horrible.
extremely
The sun
unhappy.
is bright and beating down on you. It is painfully bad.
Why?
Let's get in, get out. This is rough.
And you begin trekking across the horrible desert. Jonah Monks is just all smiles and cheery and happy and seemingly to be at peace for the first time in a while.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I would live in the desert if it wasn't for the horrifying fauna.
And I believe that's a perfect time, in fact, for us to hear from the most recent story time and hear something from Jonah Monks' past that maybe he wants to talk about. Somebody purchased a story time for you.
So, when I was a child, just after I was disowned by my family for being just a shit shape changer, I was adopted by a very nice human man who taught me the ins and outs of the business that I currently work in. And he was the one who first gave me my nickname, which I'm not going to tell you today, and how to really work a knife for the first time. And I know that sounds creepy, like it's all about stabbing and organs and arteries, and it's really not. It was, for us, it was about cooking. You know, chopping vegetables, breaking down animals into their base parts to be cooked. He loved to cook. Now, that being said, he did also love to stab people in their organs, and he showed me where each and every one of those was. So I've always been handier with the knife than most. But for my people, that's not exactly smiled upon because it doesn't involve taking over a planet. Oh well, live and learn.
Yeah, it gives us all a little bit of insight into the past history of Jonah Monks. Maybe he's not as terrible as he's been made out to be. Oh man, is this desert horribly, horribly hot. And almost nothing in it, except for far ahead, you can see the smoking wreckage from where these two vessels collided. And as you reach it, it is pretty bad. These two vessels look like they were ripped apart on impact. Pieces of them are scattered for hundreds of yards in every direction. It was the perfect hit. Your strategy worked flawlessly. But there's also all kinds of parts and materials available to collect here. A lot of them are very interesting to both yourself, Jonah Mox, and yourself, Paul, of your experience with science and technology. And Vector, you even recognize a lot of important little parts that could be gathered and gleaned here. Mostly in the weaponry department is where you tend to focus, but they do have some very, very, very high-tech weapons. There are pieces of them left still here in this wreckage. For Paul, it is
And
a
I am
scientific
going after the
standpoint.
shiny things that look like they could be turned into jewelry.
Oh,
Rings,
you find all kinds of
caskets.
lovely things along that type, Princess Hedgehog.
Okay.
A lot of these ships are very shiny and gleaming and pretty. Of course, none of it is the pieces that seem to interest everyone else who you are with, but what do they know? They clearly don't have royal goblin blood, so. But the three of you are able to accumulate a variety of parts, Paul, that you think would be instrumental not only in replacing things on the Reliance, but perhaps upgrading things and maybe even getting around some of those strange modifications that Pierce put into place with the computer programs. And overall, looking at this completely disassembled ship gives you a lot of a greater insight into how these ships function and how the Reliance functions. And you are fairly certain by the time that the sled is almost completely loaded that these beings are energy, and in their energy base, they both power the things that serve them, and that is their actual life form shape itself. And you're not entirely certain, but that they might, in fact, be a single entity, and each one that you've encountered so far has just been offshoots, like cells within a living being, a biological being.
Ooh,
Like a
energy hive
mycelial
mind.
network.
They are fascinating. Oh, we've been raided. Oh my,
Uh-oh.
we've got raiders.
It's those hooligans at Pinnacle.
It is all of those terrifying hooligans. It's the Pinnacle Entertainment folks have rated as the creators of Savage Worlds, who they just were finishing off their long run of a great stream that they were doing about their Savage Worlds Pathfinder. That was coming out just recently. They just did a big Kickstarter for it, and man, did that thing get funded. Clearly one of the most heavily supported Kickstarters in quite a while. You're going to be seeing Savage Worlds Pathfinder. There's probably going to be more great expansions to come off of it. If you missed out on backing the Kickstarter and getting in on it, I'm pretty sure you're going to have an opportunity as they get closer to publishing to maybe jump on and maybe get some of those things after they've come out if you missed the boat. But hey, if you did happen to support it and get in, you're going to get all kinds of great stuff for supporting that Kickstarter. I backed it. I'm going to be getting a whole box full of great, cool stuff. I'm going to add it to my other boxes of great, cool stuff that I've been getting from Savage Worlds. They're shipping out the stuff from Deadlands, which I'm going to be getting really soon. And then, towards the end of this year, I'll be getting all of that great stuff from Pathfinder as well. And, this show is going to cover a lot of the really great Savage Worlds settings. So I'm really excited. And I'm really excited every time they release more of them, because that just gives us more fun stuff to put into our shows. Yeah, you guys just joining us from the Pinnacle Entertainment channel on the
Hashtag
raid.
confessional. Let's hear what Vector thinks of the mission so far.
Oh my, well, let me tell you a little about the mission before Vector does a confidential on it, a confession. So far, they had to deal with two pursuing enemy ships seemingly controlled by a race of energy-based life forms. In the process, they disabled one of the ships, but unfortunately, that removed all of the power to it. So in a combined effort, as it was forcibly docked with their own ship, they disengaged this and effectively threw a ship at another ship, or shot a ship at another ship, destroying it, knocking it into pieces, and then landing their own in not such great shape, and now utilizing the parts from these two destroyed ships, hopefully to repair their own ship and get it back into a little bit better shape. So why don't we hear from Vector Rains and hear what he thinks about the mission so far from a reliable source.
Everything was going fine. I was elegantly dressed. I was ready for this party, which is not the same kind of party as a boarding party. I wish I had known that. I would have dressed completely different. But you gotta dress to impress, and that's great. Until we ended up on a desert island. Or a desert world? It's like an island, right? That's what a world is? Yeah, we're gonna go with desert island planet world. Do you know how hot wool is? I would have had a completely different outfit. I actually have a nice head wrap that I could have worn. And it would have been nice and cool as we carry all of these giant pieces of metal that hopefully will fix the Reliance. I hope that we can upgrade it with some weapons so that next time we don't have to waste an entire ship shooting down another ship. Don't get me wrong. That was awesome. And when John Stone's not looking, I'm going to give Jonah Mox some high fives. I'm going to hopefully find something to slip in his pocket. Maybe, I mean, he deserves something out of this ship. He was the one who came up with the plan. Yes, I'm the one who shot it. So, credit where credit's due. I did the work. But he came up with the plan. And that's no small feat. So, good on you, Jonah Mox. Oh, yeah, Paul and Princess helped too. But mostly it was me, and then Jonah Mox had an idea.
And there is our reliable source. You've got the sled entirely loaded up with all of these different parts so that the ship can potentially be repaired and brought back online again. And begin trekking back through this horrible, horrible desert heat. Most of you not enjoying it so much. Jonah Mox absolutely.
This is so good.
Hot temperatures, feeling great.
Jonah Mark starts removing layers.
You're a liquid man. How do you like the sun that much?
Just like, do you know you can refrigerate food on our ship?
Yes, that's where the food is stored, in a refrigerator.
No, I'm talking about the rest of the ship. Room temperature, you shouldn't be able to see your breath or make food spoil slower.
That's true. I'll give you that.
It's cold all the time.
They put their focus on other things, not heaters.
Hot.
Why? Is space not cold?
I don't know. I've never been in space without a heater.
Yeah. Well, it's cold.
Okay.
Trust me.
I mean, shedding the excess heat from the ship is actually quite an engineering challenge. The coldness on the Reliance is actually quite impressive.
Is it impressive to do
Can
a
somebody
bad thing
carry
good?
me? The heat on the sand is ruining the mycelial network in my roots.
Hop on the
And
dolly.
I think I'm going to die.
Oh yeah, get on the dolly.
Hop on the dolly.
I
Have
thought it
something
was
to
full.
drink.
I
I
thought it was
believe
full.
you
I
have a
thought you
giant
couldn't carry
jar
anymore.
of me.
I hop on the dolly.
All right, you climb on top of the parts. As she's climbing up and moving things around, there's the clatter of metal, and the ground rumbles just slightly, and then more, and
Watch your
stronger,
step,
and the
Paul.
sand begins to shift.
No,
move.
no.
And bursting forth from the sand is a great legged worm-like creature with massive mandibles. It's probably 100 feet long. It is just immense, scattering sand everywhere as it rises up and turns its eyeless head down towards your bodies.
I look over at Vector Rance and say, if this is a hentai planet, I'm going to be so mad.
I'm already mad.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm going to deal out some cards here, and here we go.
James, you hate us. I can't use that
Oh,
joker from
it
before.
looks like that 3 is too low, so I'm going to have to give another card to Jonah Mox there with his
Please.
quick edge. He's just not going to be slow. And instead, you're going to get to go first with that ace of spades, Jonah Mox. This thing is massive with thick shelled armor and hundreds and hundreds of little legs that it probably uses to propel itself as it is digging through the ground and sand.
How big are we talking about here? Like,
Well,
run
well
away,
over 50
run
feet of
away
it.
big, fight big?
Well over 50 feet of it have burst through the ground, and the rest of it is still below the ground itself. You might call it a graboid.
All right. Well, I need to make sure that my homies and the dolly can run. So I'm going to try and attract its attention by whacking it with the matter cutter as it comes out of the ground.
All right, that's going to be a fighting test. What's your fighting skill, John Max?
It's 12, but I have a -1 because it's a improvised weapon.
Oh, we have an ace on that 6, which aces again. And with a 13, with a subtraction for an improvised weapon, is still going to be a hit with a raise. Now, a matter cutter itself isn't an extraordinarily dangerous weapon, but because of the design of that energy blade, it does tend to go right through even the thickest of plates and armors. So we're only going to get a poor, pathetic D4 for damage.
Oh.
On a matter cutter. However, the armor piercing capability of it is worth 20 points of armor piercing. So we're going to ignore every single bit of the armored hide on this creature.
Do we still get strength on it?
Yeah, you would still get your strength. I apologize for not including that. What is your strength die?
D8.
Okay, the D8 is added to that as well. That is significantly higher. 6 damage is done, but it is 6 damage done while completely ignoring every single bit of plate as the tiny, tiny little scalpel-like blade goes right through, cutting straight into flesh. And I'm going to have to use one of those jammed up bennies that chat has bought me because I don't want this giant worm to take a wound from a tiny matter cutter.
I think you think we're talking about different things. And that's okay.
It is quite possible that we are. But I'm going to be making a D12 vigor roll to try and absorb some of that damage there. As I don't want to take a wound from a tiny little scalpel device.
Yeah, that's not what this would be. That's why I used it.
But we had a different idea of what you picked up from that lab.
Yeah, here, matter cutter. Right here. These devices use ultrasonics, lasers, and molecular disruptors, blah, 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 to, they're basically giant, like, hole-ripping things. They do...
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
That's
they
a
do.
scientific term, in fact, a giant hole-ripping thing.
They have AP 10 and do 3d6 damage.
Well, that's slightly better and slightly worse at the same time, but we'll go ahead and do that. Give us the 3 6-sided dice for damage and drop that AP down to 10. With an ace to die roll, we are going to do the exact same amount
of damage. All right.
Okay.
because the armor, of course, some of it gets into place. So I'm still going to get to roll it.
I just didn't want everyone at home to think that I was like attacking them with like a laser scalpel, when in fact it's like a giant honkin' 4-foot like thing that you use to cut pieces off of ships.
It's very important.
But it was
Entirely
funny.
different. All right, I'm going to roll a D12 for that vigor roll to try and soak some of that damage for this thing using one of those bennies that chat bought me. Thank you very much. 7's going to do it. I'm going to reduce that down to, that's going to be a success, so there'll be no wound caused. And so the creature's got to be just fine, but thank you, chat. I appreciate that. That helped me quite a bit. Vector Reigns?
So
Queen
you
of
mentioned
Diamonds?
How big is this worm?
Well, about 50 feet of it is exposed above the surface, and the rest, well, who knows how much more is down there.
How big around is it?
About 15 feet around, or so.
Okay.
Girthy.
Yes.
And now, even though it didn't do a wound, is there now like just a little cut where some of the armor was exposed?
It was rather clean, right in and then right out. But
Okay.
yeah, not enough of a real gap, but something just slid right through that. It's like it almost wasn't even there.
Okay. The last time there was a big creature, Rhonda rode it, and I was jealous. I want to ride this worm.
Y'all, I'm so mad right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Oh,
I don't know if I
Explain
have
to
to
me what
run
you
up
mean
the
by
side
ride
of
this
it
worm.
or like just like straddle it.
You
You
got
going full Atreides?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I want.
I tell you what, Vector Reigns, if you get me right up to this creature, I will beast friend him so fast, and we can ride him home to victory
Okay,
all
so
together.
she says that. Can I delay my action and be like, "Hey, you make me fly, and we'll fly up there, and it'll make it easier for me to get on top of his head."
You can hold and wait until it gets down there. I don't have an issue with that if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, so
You're going to hold.
You can make me fly, right?
So your plan to save us is for you to ride this?
Well, I think we'll be safe.
Okay, so Vector Reigns, here's the deal. I only have so many points of magic left. So I can either make a beast friend out of this worm that takes us all to safety, or I can make you fly so that you can joyride on its head to indeterminate end.
I was going to shoot it a lot in the head. A lot. All right, this is a lot of planning. I'm going to run up. We'll see it. We'll see what happens. If I fail, you get the beast friend anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going to run up this worm.
You're going to attempt to run up the worm and shoot it in the head rather than hold your action. Is that what I'm getting?
Yes. I'm going
All
to
right,
run up
you're going
this
to shoot
worm.
it, run, climb up the worm, and shoot it in the head.
Well,
All right, what is your athletics?
my athletics is a 6.
All
It's
right.
boss.
Do you not get a +2 for attempting to do things that are incredibly daring?
I, in fact, do get a daring roll. I
All
get
right,
+2
so it's
That's
gonna
an
be-
11.
11 with a -2 for a multi-action is a 9, so a success with a raise as you begin scampering, half climbing, half jumping, using legs and bits of armor to get on your way up, and then shooting test for when you get to the top. Will you be using both guns? Because that makes it really hard to keep the climbing thing going.
No, I'm gonna cowboy up. So I'm gonna have one hand on the back of it, and then there'll be a pistol in this hand. And so I'll be like, ha ha! Pew! Ha ha!
All right, I will take a shooting test. -2 for multi-action.
That is a D10.
All right, and of course, +1 from the marksman offsets one of those points. That's going to be a 5, which is a success. It's actually ended up going to be a 9 because of the size difference of this creature to yourself. It's got a scale modifier, which makes it much easier to hit.
Sweet.
So that actually means a hit with a raise. So you're going to get to do your 3d8 plus 2d4 damage. Oh man, and with a total of 33, I am going to need to use one of those bennies that chat bought me again to try and absorb some of that because I don't want the giant worm to just instantly die from a pistol shot from Vector Reigns. So if I can get a D12 vigor
I
die
do.
roll.
Wait, can we vote on this? Because I think the rest of us do want it to die
It's
from a
true.
pistol shot from
I
Vector.
do want it to die.
That's 2 successes. Thankfully, that still drops down to has only 1 wound that is inflicted, but a wound is still inflicted even with that 2 successes on that soak roll.
If it matters,
Thank you, chat, for making it so my giant worm did not immediately and instantly die in a pistol shot.
if it matters, the
And it
pistol
at
has
least gets a
8d4.
chance to try and eat someone on its initiative of 7 before we get to go further. It pointedly, as it is diving down with its mandibles, unable to reach yourself, Vector Reigns, because you're hanging onto the top of it, goes right by Paul, completely ignoring him in entirety, and tries to close its terrible, terrible mandibles on you, Princess Hedgehog.
I'm going to miss you.
Bad
Look,
word.
All right, so it gets a D10 for a fighting die. Unfortunately, it does so at a -4 due to scale difference between itself and Princess Hedgehog being so small. And so with a 1, those giant mandibles snap shut, and you're able to just duck underneath them, barely even moving, as your small frame is substantially less than whatever it is that this thing traditionally feeds on it. Wow, and that's going
How
to give us
big
to
are the
Paul.
bugs in this desert?
Paul with a 4 is going to be our next person to act. It just went right by you, Paul, completely ignored you like you weren't even there.
Yeah. So I'm going to just this whole time Paul's been looking at it, scoping it out, correlating it with everything that Paul knows about sandworms in general, and with this new piece of data, just seeing what they can kind of figure out about its morphology, weaknesses, strengths, likes, dislikes, mating habits, the works. What can I deduce?
Are you attempting to use your
Aquarius.
monster hunter capability?
Well, I'm not sure if that's applicable, but I mean, if I can use that, that would be pretty cool.
You
Yeah.
absolutely can. So I'm going to need you to make an occult roll.
Okay.
What is your occult skill?
My occult is a 10.
All right. Go ahead and give me the D10 and the D6. Oh, a 1 and a 3.
Do I got a Benny? Do I got a
You
Benny
do.
available? I
You
would love
have
to
a
use
couple
Benny.
of them left. You want to use one?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right. Rerolling. 10 aces. Oh, my. 16 is going to be a success with a raise. What do your allies get as a bonus from your monster hunter capability with a success and a raise?
So, on a successful Monster Slayer roll, a success will reveal weaknesses and give +1 trait rolls to allies. A raise reveals special abilities +2 trait rolls to allies.
Well, this thing is extraordinarily tough and heavily armored and capable of sensing life forms both through thermal detection and through vibration detection on the surface. You believe that it is very sturdy, very stout, and not very smart as it behaves, much like a large insect or animal would. In fact, very much is a beast.
Walk without rhythm, you won't attract the worm. Oh,
Not a
also,
terrible suggestion.
If you can get colder, that might be helpful. Or hotter, match the desert. Also, it's tough. I just relay all the information I get.
Fair enough. That, of course, goes to Princess Hedgehog, who would be next. This thing just tried to devour you with giant pinching mandibles.
Yeah, and I'm pretty mad about it too. I mean, Merc is telling me that there is a size limit on what I can beast friend, which, you know, makes me obstinate.
Well, the
Do it
cost
anyway.
to use it is based upon the size of the creature, so it depends on how many power points you have available. Keeping in mind that you can spend a Benny to get 5 more power points if you don't have enough.
Excellent. And I think at this point, I actually have 3 personal bennies.
Yep, you could spend 3 of them if you needed to.
So, how many power points, James? do
Well,
you
this
think,
thing would cost you, because of its size category, it's going to cost 14 points.
Well, isn't that just interesting? I'm going to try to beast friend it.
Okay.
Because between my 3 bennies and the power points I still have left, we have 25 or 21 points, I think.
Okay, so you only have to
So,
spend
yeah.
2 of those bennies to get enough points back to throw that power up. So that still leaves you with a Benny and a spellcasting roll to make. What is your spellcasting?
My spellcasting is 12.
All right, a D12 and a D6. A 6 aces.
Lemon.
And you have taken, well, you've become great friends with a giant burrowing graboid sandworm.
Mm-hmm.
Living the dream.
I am going to instruct it to pick up our friends and our loot with one of its tiny little legs, or mandibles, that will work too, and take us safely back to the ship.
Excellent. You
By the
are
way,
taken.
It says its name
I
is
run.
Stella, which is interesting.
Jonah
You are taken back to the ship via giant sandworm.
Take a picture of me riding the worm.
Okay.
Okay, it's going on my social needs, though.
That just happened.
I absolutely pick his pocket while I take that photo.
How do you pick my pocket?
Genomox picks a lot of people's pockets.
I
That's
can
right.
stretch.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your
When your
shape-changing
arm is
abilities-
40 feet long and can go around corners, you can do lots of
Yes, that is a conversation for another day and a more age-appropriate audience.
If I don't get a slash fic out of this, I'm going to be very upset. You can send it directly to me, though. You don't have to worry about it.
So you are
Just-
carried back to the Reliance with all of your parts, and all of your parts still attached because the giant sandworm graboid did not eat you,
Nice.
which apparently is named Stella. And
Good job,
Stella
Stella.
deposits you very gently and perfectly back at the Reliance. Hangs out for several minutes and obviously bonds in some fashion with Princess Hedgehog before finally
I throw
burrowing
some
back
treats
into
out
the
there.
You want to strap it to the hood and see if we can take it with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Beast Friend does have a
Can
time
we?
limit, and before too long, you'll want
It's hungry
that.
again.
They'll want that giant
Oh.
thing, which is much too big to be carried by the Reliance, to return to its natural state, digging through the ground, looking for more suitable prey other than yourself.
Get on, Stella. Get out of here.
Before Stella leaves,
I guess that's
can
just
I?
another friend that I don't have anymore.
Still a friend you have, just a friend that needs to live in their own world under their own conditions. Gone, but not forgotten, and not no one. They're still your friend, just not traveling with you. Keep that in mind. Stella will always be your friend.
Unlike Jonah Mox, which is with me forever.
Oh, that is really sweet, and I'm really, really gonna miss that testicle.
I believe Paul had something he wanted to do with regards to Stella before.
Oh yeah,
Stella
I mean I
departed.
don't want to step on that beautiful exit, but I just if there's a moment, Paul would like to request of Princess Hedgehog to convey a request to Stella. If I could just get in that mouth for a minute. If I can just hop in that tummy for a minute. I just want to.
Oh yeah, sure, no
take a look
problem.
around
Let me get up and
if they're gonna
Yeah,
be cool with that.
I stroke Stella's mandible, being like, "It's okay, girl, or boy, or you, or whatever you are. It's okay. Just let the nice rock
Good
person, yes, let the nice rock person check out your mouth. It's gonna be okay."
And I just kind of gingerly step inside the mouth and just kind of poke around for a couple minutes, and that's
I
just
take
something
pictures of that
happens.
too.
Yeah.
Of course you do. It clearly has a strong digestive system, but it seems to target organic material as opposed to rock, making you completely immune to it. And also, thankfully immune to the smell, as many other biological beings would probably be very put off by the odor inside of it.
Yeah. When am I going to step inside a sandworm mouth? Can't pass this up. Can't.
Very slow digestion, but seems to be fairly efficient. A very basic and simple creature.
Perfect predator.
Mm.
Yes, a perfect predator. And between the lot of you getting the parts back with the assistance of Ranger Rhonda and John Stone, you're able to get some semblance of normalcy back to the Reliance, and even enough to lift off the ground and attempt to engage that jump drive one more time.
Were we able to add weapons to the Reliance?
You started the process,
Okay.
Vector. It's going to take a lot of work, but you are using some of the workshop base space, and hopefully with Paul's assistance, to try and get one of those plasma weapons to work properly with the Reliance's systems.
Yeah.
Now you may be a couple of tiny pieces on those weapons, but don't worry, I will sell those to you super cheap.
But you are able to get the vessel back up in the air and engage that jump drive. Unfortunately, something else happens as that jump drive engages. And for a moment, things flicker. You have the green surrounding you for a second, and then you're in an ocean and underwater. And then you're in space. And then you're flying over a forest. And then you're traveling through a raging inferno of fire, and then it's in a swamp, and rapidly things begin to change and change and change and change as the jump drive continues to switch from dimension to dimension to dimension in rapid succession.
Oh, this is
not
nice.
okay.
This is nice.
No.
Indeed,
Fascinating.
it is quite terrifying and very disorienting. And that, folks, is our show for tonight.
You know, one of these weeks the cliffhanger is going to be, and everything is fine.
Coming up next week, Destinations Unknown, starring Christian Doyle, Sean Franklin, Xander Layden, and Elise Moore. Will our heroes solve their jump drive problems, or will they jump out of the frying pan and into the fire? Find out next week on The Reliables. Hey, don't forget to check out Void Jumpers this Wednesday and follow Zoe and TFN on Twitter and Facebook to find out about all kinds of other great independent shows and upcoming events. Check out the folks over at Pinnacle Entertainment. If you don't own a copy of Savage Worlds, you should buy a copy of Savage Worlds. Even if you only have a couple of people to play with, it is one of the best tabletop RPGs to ever be released or created. And my personal favorite rule set. You can play anything with Savage Worlds, and that's one of the things I just love about the game system. From cyberpunk settings to fantasy settings and everything in between. There is just no limit to what you can do, and with the hundreds and hundreds of settings that they have out there, both independently released and those that they have released themselves. And you, in fact, are going to see a lot of these settings show up on the Reliables as our heroes go and visit some of the many great and fantastic Savage Worlds places out there. We love all of you guys.
I'll be here with the books to Vanna Whiteboy them to everyone.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out and being with us. Thank you for supporting the show through the store and supporting us by spreading information on social media, telling all your friends about it. Thank you to all the people from Pinnacle who came over to raid after their great stream they did tonight. Congratulations on your fantastic and very successful Kickstarter. I look forward to getting the material in my mailbox and the electronic versions very soon. You guys are great, and we will see you all next time for another episode of The Reliables. Good night, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye now. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Y'all have a good night.